50.
Yeah.
And is it a Labraku?
No, it's a standard pedal.
We are.
Yeah,
Yes.
here you are, the 31st.
36
How is she
days.
doing working with your
So that's
son?
counting
Doing
Wednesdays.
good. Doing good.
That is counting Wednesdays.
I know them kids count Wednesdays.
Great. Good evening and welcome. I'd like to call the April 13th, 2021 Board of Directors meeting for Glover Garden School to order at 6:33 p.m. Has everyone had a chance to review the agenda? Any questions or changes? Do I have a motion to approve the agenda? Ms. Saunders, second. Ms. Foster, all in favor? Thank you. How about moving on to the minutes for March 9th and March 19th? Meetings, has everyone had a chance to review those minutes? Do I have a motion to approve the minutes? Mr. Huffines, second. Mr. Brooks, all in favor? And I do apologize, Ms. Verakin, can you please give us the role and the mission?
Yes, ma'am. The role of the board, we're entrusted to care for the current schools and stay focused on the vision for the future school. No trust, no unity, no progress. Mission of Clever Garden School will foster community, generate enthusiasm, challenge students academically, and produce successful citizens.
Thank you. Do we have public comment or stakeholders this evening?
No, ma'am.
No comments. Thank you. Moving on to finances. Has everyone had a chance to review the February 2021 budget? Any questions? I have a motion to approve the February 2021 budget. Ms. Foster, second. Ms. Lane, all in favor? Okay, Ms. Moore, the principal's report.
This should be good.
Yeah. Great things happening at Clover Garden. Of course, our students are back on campus, and that is just the soul of Clover Garden is back. We're not, I had a teacher tell me today, we're not an empty shell of a building anymore. And that is so exciting to have our kids back with us. On Friday, April the 9th, our students were challenged to wear blue to celebrate and to raise awareness for autism. We had a hashtag CGS turns blue for AU. Ms. Newton was the one who spearheaded this event for our students and for our teachers. She also provided our teachers with resources in the classroom that were grade level specific to help educate our student body about autism. And then on April 15th, she is going to be providing professional development to our teachers about best practices for autistic children. So that's really exciting that she is stepping up in that role as a teacher leader. Mr. Babb, speaking of teacher leaders, you know that he was voted as our beginning teacher of the year. And this week he is in Coley, North Carolina with all the other beginning teachers of North Carolina. And he is participating in all kinds of wonderful events, professional development, networking opportunities with other teacher leaders throughout the state. And then on Thursday, he is the final winner of the North Carolina State Beginning Teacher of the Year is going to be released, announced that day. So be sending him some positive vibes. If you follow NCAT on Facebook, they're posting like every 2 or 3 hours about what they're doing in Coley. And so I try to pay attention, and whenever Mr. Babb shows up, of course, we're going to shout him out on our Facebook page because he's pretty awesome. We want to shout him out. Also, we have a new member of our family, Mr. Grizzly in Building 3. This is a much awaited thing that we've all been talking about for a couple of months now. Mr. Grizzly is a real live grizzly bear standing in Building 3. He's around 8 feet tall, give or take, however you measure him. But he is a focal point, and the kids have just been an all kinds of reaction. It's been fun to see that, but a huge thank you, of course, goes to Mr. Brooks for procuring Mr. Grizzly from the Virginia Parks Department, and then also our parent member, Mr. Warwick of Warwick Taxidermy for prepping Mr. Grizzly for the next phase of his life here at Clover Garden School. We learned that he's probably from the 50s, 60s area, so he's been around for a while, and he had to have some touch-ups made.
Oh,
And he is looking on point now, and one of our students actually built the base for this grizzly bear.
Oh, okay.
So that's
Really?
really awesome, yes,
That's
Chandler
cool.
Warwick built that for us, so, great things happening here. Mr. Grizzly is not his official name yet. We're working on that. Wanted to give you an update about MTSS and the FAMD. So on March 19th, the MTSS Problem Solving Committee met with members of DPI virtually, and they worked on a FAMD, which is a facilitated assessment of MTSS district level. And we learned so much about our MTSS program here at Clover Garden. We've learned what we're good at, what we're not so good at, and what we need to do to fill in the gaps. So the data that we've received from this will help us have a stronger MTSS program, which is tiered intervention for our students. The next thing I want to tell you about is Teacher Appreciation Week is coming up, the first week of May, May 3rd through the 7th, and we have an ad hoc committee working on this. These are parents who volunteered and said, hey, we know this year has been a year for our teachers, and we really want to celebrate them and make this week super special. So they have met together and worked on some really cool surprises. I don't want to give them all away here because I know we've got some teachers watching tonight. But one of the things that they're going to be doing is a really special swag bag at the end of the week, and they have created an Amazon wish list that we're going to send out to our families to try and get them involved as well. So if y'all are interested in that, the link is right here. We would love to have you help with that. And then also, they've even created a piece of the week for our students and our families to get involved. Themed days, as you can tell, the theme is Hollywood because our teachers are stars. And each day we're asking our students to do certain things, whether it be bring in a handwritten note or something like that to help celebrate our teachers. For our enrollment update, Clover Garden is currently serving 642 students, and 140 of those students are remote. Everyone else is here on campus. And we have 514 students on our waiting list, which is exciting. We've got some really great upcoming events as well. Graduation is June 3rd. Woo woo! We're almost there. And then kindergarten assessments are going to happen on June the 4th and on the 7th. So we're going to have some of our brand new kinders on campus those days. And then, believe it or not, it's already time to start thinking about next year. Our teachers will be back on campus on July 15th. And Mr. Whittington and I have scheduled a summer cleanup day for July 17th for our families to come in and help us prep the school building, kind of like we did a couple of years back before COVID. So we're really excited about those events. Thank y'all.
Thank you, Ms. Moore. Okay, moving on to old business. Title I, Ms. Bright, do you have an update?
So we did, kind of spoke to this last meeting, but there was one finding when we had our Title I audit, and it had to do with different languages and things like that, and making sure that we were communicating using different ways to get across to our stakeholders. So we did rectify that, and we did get our official approval letter from DPI. So we should be good to go. We've got like a work plan in place that we will be following. So we did receive our official. We are now in compliance for Title I.
Thank you.
How do we recognize?
We just have to almost make sure we have that handle.
Oh.
What language is working on.
And then reopening updates?
So we are open. Last week, was very busy. We've learned a lot of things. We've made a lot of improvements just after the first day. I think Carline took us about 2.5, 3 hours, it felt like, on the first day. And we knocked that out. Just a thank you to all of our families, our parents, our teachers. It's taking every single person in this building and our families to make things work smoothly. So we've done a great job kind of ironing out some of the kinks. Our kids have done great because they have 2 different days of 2 different schedules. So they've done a great job getting back in the routine. They kind of hopped out of the car on Tuesday. By Friday, they were a little bit more sluggish because now it's like real. Like now I have to go to school. So, but it's been great seeing the kids back in school. And then the teachers have just, yes, they are exhausted. They are managing both of those classrooms, the in-person and the virtual, but it is well worth it. You can see the passion and the light again from our teachers and having those kids back in the room. So, updates wise, we talked about in-person learning. We've got around 503 kids back on campus. So those kids are here just, like I said, 4 days a week. They're here Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. And then we are deep cleaning on Wednesday. So that's a great thing for us to have our kids back. Updated metrics, just to kind of give you a heads up of kind of where we're at. You should see that copy in your packet. It's not attached, it's separate, but these are the updated metrics that we have for our counties, just for you to kind of look over. Things are getting better. We are no longer in the teens for percent positive, so that's huge. It's still a little bit, higher than we would like it, but hopefully it's going in the right direction. So if you take a look at this on this first page, it'll show you percent of positive cases in Alamance County. So you can see that that is about 5.87% positive. You turn the page, Caswell County is sitting at about 5.84% of positive cases. And then Guilford County, it's a little bit higher than those, but it's sitting at about 6.27% positive. So, there will be just a conversation with the Alamance County Health Department. We do that every week. Ms. Cox, of course, is doing a fantastic job as our COVID coordinator. Bringing in more kids, bringing in more people into your building. They have already prepared us that, hey, you need to be ready for that. There's going to be, potential positive cases and exposures and things like that. So she's working around the clock to make sure we are protecting our families and protecting our faculty and staff. And just being as cautious as possible. We are definitely going to err on the side of caution because we have a lot of people in this building and we work really hard and waited a long time to get these people back in this building. So we are going to do things the way we've been doing them, which has been very successful for us. So we are going to continue to be cautious and make sure that everybody's following our COVID-19 procedures. The families have done really good with this. The only concern we have is just reminding them, if your kid doesn't feel good, they're sick, those kind of things, they drop some of the restrictions so we don't have to tip check them and things like that when they're on campus anymore. But they should be doing that on their own. They should be doing the symptom screeners at home, just to be cautious. So if your kid's sick, don't feel well, just, err on the side of caution and keep them at home with you. Because, we have limited the amount of people they are exposed to every day, but they're still going to be exposed to a lot of people in a daily setting. So, Ms. Cox, I don't know if you want to add anything from that department on that. Okay. She also, Dr. Ball put a little table down there for you. Remember, they changed some of the measurement or the way that they were measuring the cases and things like that now. They changed it to every the past 7 days. So you can take a look on that page and look at Alamance, Caswell, and Guilford. Still high transmission, substantial transmission, but again, trying to get below 5%, trying to work towards that. If you turn the page, there's that county alert system. Remember the time when that whole thing was red and orange, which was really scary? Now we've even got some green on there now, so I feel like we're getting better in that aspect as well. Vaccination status is on here for North Carolina. So it lets you know, she also put the percent of the population vaccinated, fully vaccinated, which means they've had both of their doses, and then they have to wait 2 weeks. So that is fully vaccinated, that's their definition. So there are the percentages for Alamance, Caswell, Guilford County. So you got Alamance sitting at about 21.7% of the population vaccinated, Caswell at 22, and Guilford at 22.7. She also put a little blurb here at the bottom that the vaccine trials for children and adolescents are ongoing, and that it's possible that a vaccine for adolescents age 12 and older may be available this summer, and then 5 to 11-year-olds potentially early 2022. Ms. Cox, any other updates on that on projected vaccination? And then Dr. Ball put a little information here about the variants that they are watching. She spoke a little bit about this before, that UK variant, which is now the predominant strain in the United States. So they're watching that very closely. And again, that's pretty much it for the metrics. So could be better, but definitely could be worse. So I think we're, like you said, you see a lot of percent decrease there. So that's exciting to hear. Talking about vaccinations, our staff, they've gotten that rotation starting in March, in February, March. And so they've been rolling and getting these folks in. So we're sitting at about 13% of our total faculty and staff being fully vaccinated at this time. So again, we're working towards progress. We've got a lot that have had one dose and are awaiting the second dose. So that number, I'm sure, will change before our next board meeting as well. So that's kind of where we are as a school. Let's see. Only other updates we're doing are just so you know, so when we moved into Plan A, part of the requirements, you had to partnership with the elements, with the ABC Collaborative Group. We have done that. We have submitted officially, worked through the kinks of that system, Ms. Cox about last week, but we got our first set of data put in since our kids were officially back last week. So that partnership's going great. They've been very, very helpful, and they're tracking the information stuff, that Duke program. But ABC Collaborative, and then we had to notify the Department of Health and Human Services, which we did as well. So both of those items have been checked off. And really our biggest concern right now, and this was our concern, it's been my concern since probably we started talking about this back in September, is having coverage for everybody. We have utilized every staff member in this building, every faculty member. I pulled the SRO to cover a class today. It's all hands on deck. And when folks get sick or they're out or, they have to be quarantined, or it does kind of pull on our resources a little bit. We have maximized all of our subs in the building as well. So we know this is an issue we are working on. We're trying to recruit some more substitutes and things like that are really good and feel comfortable being back in the building. But it has just being back in school, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, Monday, 4 days, 5 days, has really put a strain on some of our resources. But we are working on it. So shout out to our teachers for getting that dreaded email from me or phone call from me that says, hey, I know you were supposed to have planning, but I need you to cover such and such, or I need you to cover such and such. They've been tremendous at moving around and doing what we need to get done so that the kids are taken care of. So that's it. So far, so good with reopening. Any questions about those?
I have a question. Do we have an update on the sixth grade situation, the sixth grader?
So I can't say so much on that. I can't share my HR, my HIPAA people will get on to me. So there was a positive case in the sixth grade, I can tell you that. And that anybody that was considered a close contact received information directly from me and Ms. Cox. So what we tell people is we don't have to send out the generic, the health department says, you don't have to send out the generic to everybody, but we like to do that as just a heads up. Now, Ms. Barakin made a mistake and didn't uncheck a box, and so it went to everybody when I only wanted it to go to sixth grade. So that's Ms. Barakin's fault for creating a panic that didn't need to exist because I didn't uncheck a box. But so you will get notified if it's if I feel like I want you to know for that grade level, but we don't have to do it school-wide. They don't even recommend doing that because you do create a lot of panic that's not necessary. But anyone that was identified as a close contact to that positive case has been identified and has been contacted and has been given instructions on what to do next for quarantine. One thing that we are doing, and I'll just speak to that now. One thing we are doing is, in addition to identifying those that are a close contact, we are also including household members. So if it's a sibling or if it's a carpool ride, we are also quarantining those kids. Because we still offer virtual instruction, we are still able to operate, and that's the way we want to operate the safest. The instructions we have been given is that we can always be more stringent. I cannot be more lenient. And so that is one thing that we will stand by and stand behind. We've been doing that since March of last year, and we will continue to do that until I'm told otherwise by the higher powers that be. But that's the only time that people need to be concerned or anything like that. You would have heard from us directly. So we knew that it was not a if, it was a when. So first week of school, why not?
I just wanted to make sure I heard you correctly. The data says that 21% of Alamance, 22% of Caswell, and 22% of Guilford counties have been vaccinated.
Yep.
But only 13% of our staff.
Yes, fully vaccinated, meaning they've had both of the shots. Yes, at this point.
Is there a reason, is there any reason why? Because teachers were allowed to get it first, right?
Mhm.
So I would have thought that our percentage
Well,
would
they
be much
weren't
higher.
first.
Well, not
but
first, but earlier
they-
than
in the
general
second wave,
public.
they were allowed, yes.
Do
Yeah.
you have a percentage of partially vaccinated?
Yes. Well, that's about 50. I don't know what to do the calculator, about 50%.
Okay.
Yeah, let's do a calculator.
Are they, is it like a time off thing or?
No, so they have the opportunity if they need to go, we would have to send them. It's a little tougher now because the kids are in the building every day, so we're having to work around when they have to leave to go get their shots, but no, we have not, again, mandated
Again, it's
anybody.
a choice.
Yes, I
Yes,
know.
it's still a choice. We have not mandated anybody, to have to get that. So those are the ones that have done it on their own and have fell into those categories of priority.
Thank you, Ms. Verhagen. Any other questions? Okay, governance. Going down through our committees. First up, Mr. Brooks, governance.
We were kind of on hold because we had some emergency stuff come up during the last meeting, but that's done now. And I've sent out, I sent that out, right? Some revisions and an update to the, what's the policy where people complain? Grievance policy. And Ms. Verhagen and Ms. Simmons are looking at the grievance policy and are gonna send us back some suggestions.
Okay. Perfect, good, thank you. Ms. Lane, Finance Committee,
No updates for the group at this time.
thank you. Ms. Foster, Academics,
We have a meeting coming up, I believe it's on April 28th, if I'm correct, so we will be meeting then.
great, thank you. Mr. Huffines, Long Range Planning,
Okay, so we did meet as a committee last week. And we've also been having several meetings with the architect, designer, a lot of folks on this team. So I'm happy to report that we are moving quite along, making a lot of progress. So we are still in design phase, sketching out drawings, things like that. So we're moving along pretty good. And our next meeting is next week. So we're meeting like every 2 weeks so we can stay on schedule.
good. Thank you. No updates currently for the 20-year committee. Any other questions or updates for the committees? Okay, new business. Ms. Moore, the parent survey results.
So y'all have a copy of this in your packet. I think it's a separate thing in your stack. So each year, mid-year, we send out a survey to our families and to our faculty here, just to kind of give a pulse check, see what's going on. And this is the results of said survey. So, I wanted to just run through this with you. Last year, it was requested that you see results from previous years, so that is on here, especially for like your pie charts and stuff like that. As we get farther into it, when there's a lot of questions, I didn't do it for every single question, but I did pick out the highlights. So, as a precursor to all of this. So the first question in the survey, first of all, sorry, I wanted to let y'all know that out of 655 students, we had 107 families respond. So it's a small sample size, but we take this data very seriously and use it to grow. First question, how would you rate the overall quality of education at this charter school? Blue, very satisfied from 53.3%. Somewhat satisfied was 31.8%, and then somewhat dissatisfied is 7.5%. And you can see the comparisons on the bottom of here.
Ms. Moore, when was this actually the date this was done?
Yes, ma'am. It was sent out in December, like late December, early January, and they had a window of time to complete it. And I don't remember the exact date, but I can find that for you if you'd like to see.
I'm just thinking that now that everybody's back in school, you would probably have much better.
I would expect that some of these numbers are gonna take a hit because
Right.
nobody's satisfied with the
Yeah.
way anything's going.
Okay, like I said, I think had this been done this week, you'd have had different numbers.
Yes, ma'am. I agree. The next question was, how likely are you to recommend this school to friends and to colleagues? And our biggest, very likely, 68.2%, and then somewhat likely, 18.7%. And then the next question, how satisfied are you with the features of this school? And so, as you can see, opportunities for parent participation, that's a very satisfied. The majority of our people are happy with that. Class size, another good positive thing. Curriculum and academic program, very satisfied is the highest. Individual attention to teachers, the teachers give students. Very pleased to see that it was still very satisfied even in our virtual environment. Same question, how satisfied are you with the features of the school? On the next slide, or next page. School materials and supplies. You had some variances there with very satisfied and somewhat satisfied. Classroom management, high on the very satisfied. Services provided for special needs students. You see that we have a high bar there for uncertain. And if you remember, not all of our students are EC, so that is a fair thing there.
And COVID had a big impact on them too.
Correct, yep. And then quality of teaching instruction, even with virtual learning, look at the high bars there. So I think that speaks very highly of our teachers and the hard work that they have put in. Same question, how satisfied are you with the features of the school? Communication about my students' learning. Very satisfied and somewhat satisfied are the highest bars there. Faculty and teachers, highest bar, blue, very satisfied. School size, and then school location. Very satisfied. Same question, how satisfied are you with the features of the school? The start and end of the school times, highly satisfied there. Start and end of the school year. Sense of pride students and teachers have in the school. That blue bar standing so tall just makes me so happy, y'all. School spirit is such a thing, you know, it makes or breaks the school. I'm so glad to see that so high. And then homework requirements.
Yeah,
Everything has been homework.
which way are they skewing on there? They want more or they want less?
So they're saying that they're okay with, they're satisfied with what
If
they
there's
have
zero
so
homework,
far.
I'm sure that blue bar will be way up there.
Yeah.
And then the last one for extracurricular activities. You can see there. And then noticeable changes, so whenever you put all 3 years side by side, there are not a whole lot of variances in between the bars. But whenever you look very closely, you can see that there was a rise in very dissatisfied per individual attention teachers give to students. That was on slide number 4. There was a rise in very satisfied for communication about my students' learning. There was a rise in very satisfied for faculty and teachers. And there was a rise in somewhat dissatisfied for extracurricular activities. Which makes sense in this situation. So then the next slide, how satisfied are you with the following school operations? So the first one, our bar lines, very satisfied is blue, somewhat satisfied red, yellow is uncertain, green somewhat dissatisfied, and then purple is very dissatisfied. We have our administration, the highest bar is very satisfied. School board, very satisfied and uncertain, or our 2 highest ones. School finances, very satisfied and uncertain, or our 2 highest bars. And then enrollment and admission processes, very satisfied and somewhat satisfied, for our 2 highest bars. On the next slide, same question, how satisfied are you with the following school operations? The media center, the blue bar, very satisfied is the highest. Communication from the school about events and meetings, very satisfied is the highest bar. Food service, blue, very satisfied, and then somewhat satisfied. With uncertain, we're kind of all there, the same. And then support services, student support services, SST, blue line, very satisfied is the highest. Same question, transportation services, blue line is the highest, and then uncertain, of course, because we have not been able to run buses this year. School safety, blue bar, highest. That is normally our highest bar each and every year, so we're very proud of that. And then athletics program, blue bar, very satisfied, and then somewhat satisfied and uncertain, or neck and neck. The noticeable changes between this survey and 2019 and 2018, whenever you look at them all side by side, there was a 10-person rise in somewhat satisfied for administration and a rise in very satisfied for school finances. And I think that had to do with computers and technology and all the things that we poured into our students to help make them be successful during this time. The next slide, about how many hours on a typical school day does your child spend time after school studying or doing homework? This is a kind of skewed question this year. But we had green, which is 2 hours or more, that was at 40.2%. Then we have between 1 hour and 2 hours was 32.7%, and then 1 hour or less was 23.3%, and you can see the comparison between the last 2 years. And then the next question, do you intend to keep your child in the school as long as the school serves students in your child's age? 84% said yes, and then 16% have said undecided, and this year we've had 0 no's.
Virtually unchanged.
So on the next slide, please indicate the grade levels of your students. Please check all that apply, so you can see how that's broken down grade level wise.
Wow, 8th grade's participation in this.
Yes.
And
And
first.
first grade,
Surprising.
rocking it out. On the next slide, does your child or children use the school's transportation services this school year? So did they use the school bus?
So 28% said yes.
Where are those 28%?
Where are they going?
Yeah, what bus picked them up?
So I think that they said, yes, I normally do use the
Right.
school bus,
Okay.
but 71.2 said that, no, we're not using that this year. And as you can see, the data there from the last 2 years.
That was a trick question.
Yeah. Making sure they were paying.
But at least there was a change from the last 2
Yes,
years.
that's true. Good point.
All right, the next slide. When you decided to send your children to school, how important were the following factors in your decision? So same color scheme, blue being very important and purple being very unimportant. School size, highest bar there. Small classes, again, very important to our families. Safe environment, absolutely, it was off the chart. Very important. The academic program, of course, is very important. Same question. High standards for student achievement, very important. Nurturing environment, very important. Meeting needs of students, absolutely. And then parent and community involvement was very important and somewhat important. Same question, code of conduct, very important, was the highest one there. Availability and use of technology, very important, somewhat important. And then high quality of services and supports for special needs students, very important. And then uncertain, because again, not everyone uses those services. And then promotion of diversity. So this one's our biggest stair step. Very important is the most, and then it kind of goes down from there. So then, the last big section of the survey asks to please indicate if you agree or disagree with the following statements. So blue is agree, red is disagree, and yellow is unsure. I'm on the wrong page. So the first question right here is CGS is a safe place to learn. And agree was our highest bar there. CGS is kept clean. Our highest bar again is agree, with a few unsures. Because remember, by December, we still had a lot of brand new Grizzlies that hadn't even stepped on our floors yet. Next question, the staff at CGS treats me fairly and with respect. Blue line there, which is so important to us. And then when I have questions or concerns, they are addressed quickly and completely. And as you can see right here, we have a little bit of work to do. We have our biggest line of agree, then we have disagree, which is under 25, and then unsure, of course, which is about 15 or so. And then the school has high academic expectations for my students. Blue line is the biggest, agree to that statement. And then I feel welcomed at CGS. Again, the blue line is the highest. My children, or my child, is having a positive experience at Clover Garden. Blue line is the highest. That's what we want, right? That's why they're here. And then last question or statement, I believe CGS is preparing my children for college and beyond. And the majority there is blue with agree, and then the next biggest one is unsure, uncertain. So then the notable changes between this survey and the years of 2019 and 2018, when you line them all up, the biggest change that you can see is a decrease in disagree for when I have questions or concerns. They are addressed quickly and completely. And then
Those people just didn't
the
respond,
last-
sorry.
I'm sorry. The last question there for this survey is an open-ended question, and it's, what do you like about CGS and what do we need to change at CGS? And so with all 7 comments, went through, read them all very important, and pulled out the ones I would mention the most, and then put them on here. So what people like about Clover Garden School, we are kind, friendly, caring, family atmosphere, and community. We're a K through 12 school, and children are all in one school. That is a very big positive that they like about Clover Garden. And then our school and our class size. And then on the next slide, what people would like to see change at CGS. And remember, this survey
Oh,
was,
can I start checking stuff off?
yes. So the survey again was in late December, early January. So the first number one thing that our families and our stakeholders said in December that we listened to was virtual learning. Bring students back to face-to-face instruction. They wanted daily schedule for virtual learning and work provided expected during virtual learning. Those are all things that they wanted to change. They were saying there was too much work in one day. They also would like to see change, more timely communication. So a few people stated that they felt like they learned about things after the fact or when it was right before and they didn't have time to react, kind of thing. And then more opportunities for students. So they would like to see more vocational opportunities like carpentry, drafting, those kinds of programs, and then after school programs for our elementary students. So all good things that we can definitely look at and change. Any questions for me about our survey for parents?
Does not look like it. Thank you, Ms. Moore.
Thank y'all.
There will be no closed session tonight. Are there any other items or issues that we need to discuss or bring up? Our next meeting is May 11th, 2021. Do I have a motion to adjourn the meeting? Mr. Huffline, second. Mr. Brooks, all in favor? Please let it be noted that at 7:00